The Great Baslentic-Thitho Wars. Once upon a time, there were two dominant empires in the world, known as the Great Baslentic Empire, led by Emperor Sino Sasila, and the Great Thitho Empire, led by Grajbusan Manade. Both the emperors were having a great power, but Sino Sasila was supported by his people, while Grajbhusan Manade was almost hated by all. As Sino was a nice and surprisingly peaceful king, you would think that how a peaceful emperor could emerge such a great empire. This was because all the kings and emperors that time were very cruel, and they attacked numerous kingdoms for territorial expansion. Though the kings and emperors that time were touching the peak of cruelty, among them signed Grajbhusan Manade, crossing all limits of cruelty, and he was also known as Tyrant Manade. If he would hear a word against him or his policy, he directly awarded the offender death penalty. He had set a benchmark of cruelty. Yes, so when all those kingdoms attacked Sino's empire, then he counter-attacked them well. As peace doesn't mean to experience torture and all. He never ever attacked first. Then also he managed to create a vast empire. As his, as his, uh, as his empire was very huge, he appointed several subordinate leaders from his court. This was the highest available post for them, where they led and controlled a part of the Baslentic Empire. The subordinate leaders were given this post when they were considered a lot trustworthy by Sino. They were left free, but one strict order was there to follow the pathway of peace. He had set a benchmark of peace and harmony. While Tyrant Manade also needed to appoint subordinate leaders. He appointed them by devastating wars which caused a flow of blood-red river across towns, cities, and huge regions of wars. The subordinate leaders were not at all free. They had to follow many rules and regulations. If they just missed their routine by 1 or 2 minutes, then they were sentenced to death. This showed how cruel and tyrant Emperor Grajbhusan Manade was. Almost half of the land area belonged to Grajbhusan's Sitho Empire and half to Sino's Baslentic Empire. So Manade thought to attack and conquer Baslentic Empire. He knew it would not be so easy without proper planning and execution. So he planned to give a huge amount of money to a subordinate leader of Baslentic Empire named Nirokho Samasai and ask him to leak the secret planning of his empire and its weakness. But Nirokho was very ethical and down to the earth. He would obviously have chosen to refuse anyone on his face in such matter. However, he was aware that Tyrant Manade ordered it, and if he refuses, then he would be killed without any shadow of doubt. So he told the strength of Baslentic Empire as weakness and vice versa. This continued for a few years. Manade just scared him of revealing this to his king and go on killing the people of Baslentic, go on killing the people of Baslentic secretly by providing a huge amount of money to soldiers. Then one day Samasai found himself guilty of such consequences and confessed all of the secret to his emperor Sino Sasila. He also requested to himself be sentenced a death penalty as he thought he deserved it. As his life's cost is not at all equal to lives of many innocent people. He was also aware of the soldiers' betrayal. He told that Sino imprisoned those soldiers for 35 years, but surprisingly awarded Nirokho with more territory in his control and some money. Now Sino knew that Manade caused all that, so he made a master plan. As to receive the news about Nirokho Samasai for their empire would take 2-3 days. He ordered Samasai to tell Manade that Emperor Sino is just about to attack you and his plan is so strong that if you attack later, then your empire would be finished in a few moments. As Sino was very angry about the death of his innocent people. So Grajbhusan had a rapid planning and all in a few hours. While that few hours, Niroko explained Sino about what would Manade plan, as Niroko was aware of his thought process after having direct contact with him for a few years. Niroko Samasai was a very wise personality. He was graduated from Bislaragni University of Baslentic. He was the topper there. After that, he had also been a professor at the same university for 5 years. Then he joined this line. He also told that Baslentic's strength has weakness and weakness has strength. So all the plan of Manade was resulted as rubbish. He was surprised as his strategies never failed. As he attacked Baslentic, his plans were ruined. But as his army was huge and subordinate leaders were better in quality, and he also had better troops, so the war ended up closely, causing many deaths and a vast blood shower. But at last, the winner was Baslentic. Now, Baslentic covered the entire world under his territory. Sino explained Manade all that how Manade's strategies failed. But Sino didn't notice that Manade was severely injured initially. He went close to Manade to see his injury. Manade was in a condition to die in a few moments. But suddenly Manade took out a knife out of his pocket and stabbed Sino. Sino was Sino's last words were, "Let the world have the best emperor to lead the best empire." Niroko Samasai, the emperor of Baslentic, and he died. After a few days, Niroko got to work and led the world with his many subordinate leaders. The world now became very peaceful and free of unnecessary wars and fights. Niroko's way of leading the world was found amazingly good. After Niroko Samasai's eventual death after reaching 126 years, that happened naturally, then the empires and kingdoms had been divided numerous times. But history could never forget the Baslentic Empire, which was the greatest even after following the pathway of peace. On listening Baslentic Empire, now everyone mind clicks to the great Baslentic-Thitho wars. The three names Sino Sasila, Grajbhushan Manade, Niroko Samasai got carved in the history books forever.